And welcome to the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. Joining you here April 2nd, 2023, episode 129. I got Tyler McGurk with me. I got Brian, the main man Johnson. Well, actually, he's got 1,000 nicknames, but we'll go with Brian, the main man Johnson here. How we doing, guys? Here Sunday, we're hitting springtime here. That's why I named the title a little spring cleaning. We got a lot to get into today. We weren't here last week. We all needed a little breather on that end, getting to sleep in a little bit on a Sunday, and it's not much sleeping in, but we got a little bit more. So we're back here, ready to go, hopefully bringing you guys some good content here on Variety Sports Network. Be sure to follow us there. We're making a big push. We got different things going with VSM football, baseball. It's starting basketball. I'm doing more with the collegiate stuff. Tyler's doing a great stuff with Facing the Giants. Brian's doing the TMB with Tyler as well. So everybody here is pushing here. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing good. It was a nice little break. I needed it from last week. And then this week we got an opening day win at Little League. We won 9-1. We were tears on the base paths. We had a little trouble hitting, but that's all right. We'll get that figured out today. We got practice at 9 o'clock. But it's a good week. I'm excited to do this. Good to be back.
The pass balls, the catchers, Brian. You got to get ready for those pass balls. All right, Brian, how you doing, man? You ready to do this?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Doing good.
All right, so before we get into our little bonanza here, a couple things I want to talk about here real quick. I think it'd be remiss if we didn't mention, I think just because we have kids too, that Nashville shooting happened a little bit earlier in the week, but kind of just, I don't know, just always makes me think about just kind of our kids a little bit there, Tyler, and just not taking it, I don't know, just the idea of not taking it for granted. So just kind of right away to set out the week, just kind of, just shout out to the, just to like the officers there that responded right away and all that good stuff there. So, obviously we have kids and school's an everyday thing, so our world's a crazy place. That's all we're not going to get deep into it. I know like that, but obviously our thoughts and prayers with the people there in that situation there, and just can't even imagine the stuff there with it. Also, our guys in Memphis there, I know in that area, my cousin lives in Tennessee. The Arkansas area, I know guys that did the podcast with me last week, Chris, they got hit with some tornadoes, man. Those things were huge. Look at those twisters there. I know Ant's area there, who's a big kind of supporter of our podcast, kind of a friend of the show, I would say, Tyler, at this point. Definitely a friend of the show. Always actually gives us ideas. I'd say maybe he's a producer of the show at times. So maybe he has to get in on it a little bit here. But with that said, I know his neighborhood got hit pretty hard. Trees coming out of the roots, like lines down. So, just think of those guys here this week. Obviously, when we're doing sports shows, those type of situations. So, shout out to those guys as well. I got Ryan here commenting what we got here with them. No more weeks off. I was fiending over here. What's up, Ryan? It's good to have you, man. Is it Sharks off season? I looked. I think it's next week we start here. So now we get into. I was watching the lottery. It's a big deal here with it. I've been following it more. So with it. So Ryan, thanks for tuning in here. Appreciate it. All right. With that said, we're gonna kind of get a little bonanza style going in here. Also. That's the other thing I wanted to shout out. Also, P Shark, our guy on the news. Yeah. Can you believe that we interviewed this guy? He's out there dressed. He's got a tie on. He's looking sharp. He's on the news station talking Grizzlies. So we got a shout out to him there. And then our guys at Out of the Falcon Mine get 500 views of their stuff. So big shout out to them. They'll also do stuff here or part of the VSN network and part of the VSN football, which you do a lot with. So I thought we had to shout out those guys, especially P Shark there with the suit and tie on the news.
Yeah, that was very cool. I was like, wow, P Shark's doing big things. I'm proud of the guy. He puts in a lot of work.
Yeah, it's
just good to see good guys get good things happen to him. So
no, I
congratulations,
totally
P Shark and the whole Let's Be Real podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Bonanza part of the show here. We're going to hit on just a ton of different topics here today in just a short period of time. So, guys, with further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I was thinking here, the first question I have for you is Jordan Poole, to me, is now officially, he goes in the all-time love-hate fan relationship category for Warriors fans. Like, there's moments where you just like, yeah, what a move. Yeah, what an all-time step. And then you're like, you idiot, what are you doing? You cannot do anything on a basketball court. I feel like he belongs in a select category of players over the next few years. Am I wrong in this? Isn't he belong on this all-time love-hate relationship with fans?
Yeah, it's definitely an up and down thing. Some games I'm like, this guy's looks like Steph Curry on offense. Some games are like,
You
this
rip
guy
on him all
is
the time. I know that.
he's the worst defensive player I've ever seen in the history of the NBA. But sometimes he gets big steals. He's just a conundrum. You can't really figure him out. He's hit or miss. He's very inconsistent. He's not my favorite player. I know that. Well, but he does good things. He's a vital part of this Warriors team that has to show up if we want to perform in the playoffs.
So with that said, we're talking about him. It got me thinking about other guys that would be like past Warriors that have maybe like been on this list of like, they're good, but they also like just drive you crazy with some of the mistakes. Do you have any that pop out right away?
I think the most glaring one is Steven Jackson. Just hit big shots, but makes a bonehead play and like take a 30-footer with 20 seconds on the shot clock and with like, Steven Jackson was a guy who I was like, this is Jordan Poole, but a little bigger version and not as electric.
Like that Maverick series, right? You turn that on, like you're like, that's as love as you get, but then you turn on some other games, and after that, you're like, no, what are we doing? Or like that. No, he was definitely on my list. I actually had, not maybe as much of him, but Al Harrington kind of fit that role for a little bit. A lot of those guys on the We Believe team hit that role a little bit with like, no, yes, good shot. No, what are we doing there? I had him on there. I had a couple other ones too. I think Mikal Petrus from that list hit that with me a lot. I was definitely love-hate with him. Start this guy. What are we doing? He looks great. Got to start Air France. What are we doing? And then, no, he's pathetic. He can't make a free throw. He can't make a corner three. He's terrible. Or Bob, the corner threes were big, right? That was a big deal with Mikal Petrus. And then he goes to Orlando and he plays well. Larry Hughes for a short time was on that list, I felt, for love-hate players. Recently, players, Draymond, obviously. I mean, maybe more love, obviously, but there's some hate there with him. And I think Tyler, as you run,
he's definitely up there.
And then I got Jared Jack on that list as well. So those are some guys there that I think, like for me, anyways, I'd be like, gosh, dribble the ball up the court, man. What are we doing? These turnovers.
I think one we missed or we haven't brought up yet is Harrison Barnes with how he performed in playoffs. That series against the Cavaliers in the finals, where he just couldn't hit a shot. But he was great a lot of times too, and he went on to be a very consistent three-point shooter who we had to give up to bring in one of the best players of all time in Kevin Durant. But there was that love-hate aspect with Harrison Barnes as well.
Now, Brian, you've been around a lot of chalk talk days with us. Is there a guy that you can think off the top of your head that we've all complained about the most, but also maybe loved the most here, or anything like that?
I'm going to compare him to a 49er. He sounds like Jimmy Garoppolo.
You love hate. There is a little love hate. There is that, except for he's got a ring. That's what the difference there. But it'll be nice when Jimmy G gets the Raiders ring this year. It'll be nice so we can rub it in the Niners' face. What if the Raiders played the Niners in Las Vegas this year in the Super Bowl? How great would that be? It's back in Oakland. There's a delay. We can't get it.
Are you dreaming?
I'd be expecting a couple picks from Jimmy on his day.
I know. All right, let's keep the Bonanza going here. Number 2. I'm the Warriors here still. How important is it they avoid the Suns?
It's
They're now in the 5 seed.
We do not want
to. The Clippers tanked last night. I feel like against the Pelicans. I feel like they're both taking to avoid the Suns, the Clippers and the Warriors. Like not taking, but I don't think either one. If you put them on a line, they don't want to. They'd rather play the Kings, right, than the Suns in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. But they don't have a Devin Booker or a KD. Chris Paul is still Chris Paul. I know some people don't think he's clutch or he's not a great playoff performer. I still don't really buy that. And then they don't have a rim protector, and Ayton at least is somewhat of a rim protector. So, like, you put those two scorers with a rim protector, with the point guard who does the small thing, it's just a recipe where you don't want to play that team in the first round, especially with a scorer like KD. And with the history the Warriors have against KD. Like, it's just going to be an emotional thing for everybody, the fans, the players.
And it's not like the Kings would be like an easy matchup. We'll get into them a little bit.
No.
But I'd more say like it just would be more fun. Like I want to see the Warriors play the Kings. Like that's what I want to see that matchup just happen at any point. Like I don't even just that NorCal that matchup. So, but I just think from the Warriors Suns. I mean, how can you want to play that thing? To me, it would remind me a little bit, maybe not quite as the same. Maybe it would be as the Clippers when they played the Suns, or the Clippers when they played the Spurs that one year when Chris Paul hits that bank shot at the end. Just like it take too much energy out of both teams in some regard. So that's my question with that one there. All right.
Are we talking about the Clippers a little later? Because I want to kind of get into just the Kawhi sitting out a game for personal reasons down the stretch when they're not even guaranteed to make a playoff spot.
You can talk about it now if you want.
Is there a more weird? It just gets weirder and weirder with this.
We're talking about Kawhi Leonard, right?
Yeah, just Kawhi. Like, I don't really care about the Clippers.
So we sat out 2 games this week, right? Or no, he played one game and he played 18 minutes in the other game.
And then he sat out a game.
And what did you say the reason was for emotional reasons?
Yeah, emotional, like personal reasons. No reason at all, really. Just he didn't want to play. I've never seen it to this. It's not even rest days for him anymore. Just I decide when I play or not.
Let's just
crazy.
Let's just say they win 2 rounds. Let's just say in the playoffs, right? Let's just say hypothetically the Clippers win 2 rounds. Could they? Is there a world where he misses a game for that same reason? Like, I'm just saying, like, or is this just to get into the playoffs, basically, and then he'll play like 42 minutes?
I mean, I don't think he's done it in the playoffs yet, but I'm not putting it by him. I could see him pulling off anything at this point. He seems to just do whatever he wants, wherever he wants, and however he wants.
He is one of the, like, it is the most odd situation, Brian, this guy Kawhi Leonard, like, with that, you know what I mean? Like, and there's guys that sit and rest, but I know he's had those injuries, but you're right, he's still, like, quiet about it. It doesn't make much sense at all. But it'll be interesting with the Warriors Suns there. All right, final 4 here. Let's get to it. She's on the poster here for our episode this week. We don't usually have to it, but she's tearing it up for women's basketball this week. Iowa, they advanced. They beat South Carolina here in the women's Final Four. LSU beats Virginia Tech, so that's the matchup in the championship. But the star of the show so far, star of the tournament, has been Caitlin Clark from Iowa. Tyler, she's put up 2 straight 40-point games, I believe, triple-doubles, or maybe not triple-double last game, but she had the first game, and then she put up 40. Not a triple-double. She did not get the rebounds and assists there. But she got like 6 and 8 or something like that, I believe. But just your thoughts on her, how good she is, and just maybe your overall thoughts of the women's tournament, which I thought in some ways we'll get into too, that you think has maybe been better than the men's in some way because of her.
I think it has been better. She's just been spectacular. I call her Steve Nash looking to score. She just has this gear that she gets by anybody. And if there's nobody to protect the rim, which somehow UConn had some 2, 6, 7 girls who could protect the rim, she'd still get through and find a way to score a bucket. Or she'd hit a clutch 3. What'd I say? North Carolina?
UConn.
Yeah, I meant South Carolina. I'm used to UConn being the undefeated team. And South Carolina, sorry. She's just spectacular. She has a feel for the moment. She knows when to take the big shot, when to give it up. It's not like she doesn't give up the ball early in the shot clock and run around a screen to find a way. It's just fun to watch. I have found it much more enjoyable than the men's tournament, which is just when she plays. I'm not saying if she got eliminated, I'd probably
you were watching UCLA versus Sac State round 1.
Yeah, no. And then on the South Carolina thing, man, that team, they were letting their guards shoot any shot they want within 15 feet. I was like, how is this team undefeated? I don't understand how a team that can't shoot from outside 15 feet.
The girl they were leaving it open ended up 50%.
Well, she's their backup. They were doing it to the starter, and they couldn't even play her because she was so terrified to shoot the ball. I don't know how a team that was so dominant, so favored to win the whole thing, doesn't have one guard who can.
I mean, but you got to look at they barely lost too, and that was the case, right? Meaning they still have their dominance inside was so good. But I want to get back to Caitlin Clark just for a second, real quick, before
get back on.
Because to me, she's the difference maker here. She's the driving force of this tournament so far. You said Nash. To me, it's more of the Curry element in that tournament where she's just looking to score. Nash to me didn't look to score like that. She just dribbles up the court at a rocket pace, launches it from 25 feet or some of these threes. And they're not even good threes in some regard. It'll be I don't want to get overhyped either with her in some regard too, because I don't want to get caught up in that moment either with it. Okay, Taurasi's pretty good, those type of things too. But it does feel like she's just the next generation of the way you things go, right? Evolution. Her game is just different. She's stronger, and she's got this runner's body too. You know what I mean? Like a cross country runner. It feels like she could run forever. Her endurance is unreal. And she's kind of a killer out there. So I've been pretty impressed with her for sure out there. So Any of your thoughts on there, Tyler, Brian? Any last thoughts on that?
I have one more. Brian, if you have anything, you can go first.
I mean, from what the highlights that I saw, it seemed like two really good games in the Final Four. So I'm sure the championship game will be even better.
Well, Kim Mulkey, we'll see what she's wearing this next game with LSU. We'll see what kind of outfit she'll have for the next one. To your South Carolina point, real quick about the bigs, I think you're right. Like they couldn't shoot down low. Some people were saying that they were getting hacked, and sometimes that can be the case too. When you're the bigger team, you don't necessarily get the calls in that regard. And then I did think at the end, like obviously there was a few calls where like the girl ripped that girl's head on that jump ball at the end. That was definitely a foul. But I don't know. Like I just thought South Carolina their bigs couldn't do enough around the rim on the offensive rebounds. They got a ton, right? But they couldn't do enough around the rim to make. They still scored a ton, but it just seemed like that was their offense. Like
yeah, but there was five defenders guarding three bigs. Like that's why it was so difficult. Like I don't put it on the bigs. I put it on the guys or the girls who didn't do anything on the outside. One of their best guards, who was supposed to be the 7th overall pick in the WNBA draft, Beal, only scored 3 points. What's going on? Like, do something. You have these nice long eyelashes looking very pretty for the crowd and the cameras, but you do nothing, and you're supposed to be one of the best players on the team. I don't know. It just was.
Yeah, I hear you.
But back to the Caitlin Clark, Steph Curry. Why I say she's more like Steve Nash. If Steve Nash looked to score, is the straight line speed. She doesn't like dance while she's dribbling. She's not like trying to like dribble like back and forth, make someone break their ankles like Curry kind of can do. And that's why like just the aesthetic of it is more Steve Nash to me.
All right, we'll speed this thing up a little bit. What do you think of UConn, San Diego State? They meet up in the finals here. Butler hits the buzzer beater against against Florida Atlantic in a surprising game, in a surprising matchup to begin with. Then Butler, I thought very calmly, as we talked about, like last night on the show, recognized the time, got the shot off. I don't know, in the moment, not really being afraid of the moment, only having 7 points going into that shot. They play UConn, who beats Miami, continues to look good. Who do you got in the finals? Tyler, maybe you can talk about the same time here why you haven't been as into the NCAA tournament. When myself, I've been probably more locked in than I ever have been in the last 10 years. So I'm just curious to get your thoughts on it. Is it personal with Arizona? Where are we at with that? Is that what the main reason is behind it? Or is it something else? Plus, who do you got in the championship here?
I'd speak on why I haven't been into it. I watched both games yesterday on tape because I was at Little League, but it's just there's no star power. There's nobody who like stands out where you're like, oh, this is a must-watch player or like someone who's going to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft next year. There isn't that since the Sweet 16 and Brandon Miller got taken out of the tournament. So there's like no like where I'm like, oh, this is going to be a legacy thing. We're going to talk about these games for someone in the NBA. And it could happen. Maybe like a Klingon from UConn, who I'm very high on, but he doesn't even play very much. Now back to the game. I think UConn's going to win. They're too big. I don't think – I mean, who hit the buzzer beater again? Florida Atlantic.
Butler.
I can't even say it.
Butler.
Yeah, Butler. That was a spectacular play. It was like a half inch, and then it looked like he wasn't going to get a shot off.
Yeah.
that was just a great game.
I would have called timeout if I was a coach, I think, in that spot there at the end there.
Yeah, I was shocked he didn't call timeout. Like Jim Larinaga had 8 seconds when they got the rebound. He dribbled it up. They looked like they had nothing, and then Butler just hit a spectacular shot.
Brian? Who do you got? You got UConn or San Diego State? What's your betting? Or because you used to like UConn, right? I feel like you did.
Yeah, I mean, I did. It's still in my parents' house, but I still have a UConn Rip Hamilton jersey. So.
That's what I feel like. There was a UConn memory there with you on the. I feel like if I just say a team, there's a chance you might have a jersey in there with it. Is UConn now like considered or have they been considered a blue blood in that regard? Like, I feel like if they win this, which they're going to be favored, obviously, I don't know what the actual spread is at the moment here. I'm going to guess it's over 4 points at least, probably more. I mean, that's 5 championships, Tyler, in 25 years. That's pretty ridiculous.
They're a blue blood. I consider them a blue blood after the Kemba Walker one. I mean, the only
They do
issue
it
is
differently, though.
they're just up and down. They have years where they just absolutely suck, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Where Kentucky, like, they have bad years, but like this year, but it's never like can't make the tournament bad.
It's always a little bit weird like that. They always have something like that. All right.
Yeah,
so,
I'm gonna go with UConn in this game.
What, you got a score?
I think it might be. I say like 65 to 55, something like that.
That's a realistic score there with San Diego State. Let's see if they can keep it low like that. That's what they like to do. Interesting matchup. I don't think too many people had San Diego State versus UConn at the beginning of the tournament. All right. Number 6 here. MLB is back, guys. Early thoughts on the season. We got the A's, they're 1-1. Giants are 1-1. Brian, our A's have scored a total of 3 runs. Fuji, he looks good, throws 99, and they gave up 11 runs in the third inning. 11. Are you kidding me? Not 10. We give up 11 runs to the Halos. Trout should be stricken out a couple times in this series, by the way. We need to get these umpires and get some glasses. They're not doing a good job of that one. But the A's have the dramatic win in the eighth inning. They get the first win there, Brian. Tyler, your Giants, they go 1-1. They get the win yesterday against the Yankees after they get shut out. Cole locks them up with 10 Ks. Ohtani gets 10 against the A's that first game. Lot to talk about baseball-wise. We're going to try to kind of do it in a short time here, but let's go, Brian. Your early thoughts on MLB and kind of just what you've seen.
It's still a little early, but I mean, I was kind of surprised the Padres got beat so bad by the Rockies in the first game. That kind of surprised me, but
the Rockies always do that for some reason. Get off to like a good start the first weekend of the season. They always seem to do that. What did you think of that? What did you think of anything else with the A's this week? Did you were able to catch the first game at all?
yeah, I mean, I caught that game, and I noticed, I think they are going to surprise people. I don't think they're going to be like the worst team in Major League. Yeah, if they could get to 500, I think that's going to be a win for this team. So
that's the world where they get to do it. What do you think, Brian? There, Tyler? I thought the bases even looked bigger a little bit.
They are a little bigger.
I know they are. I was like, my goodness. I was like, yeah, it helped them the other day. What do you got there?
I mean, the new rule changes have been great. I love the time of play. It's watchable. You can watch a game in 2.5 hours. As far as Major League Baseball, some things I didn't like. I loved how every team played opening day, all 30 teams, first time in a while. I hated how only like 6 teams played the day after. Why are we taking a day off the day after opening day? It makes no sense.
They've done that for years.
I know, but it's stupid. I don't like it.
I heard they do it because of weather in case the first game gets rained out, or they do it because of what's the other dumb reason they say? Because so like the stadiums can get like check things and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree. Not good reason.
Well, have your stadiums checked before the season starts. I don't know. You're $1 billion organization. Figure it out. Make it work. I understand the rain a little bit. It does get rainy around this time of year. Then on the Giants point, that first game was
You
rough.
can't get too worried about Cole.
16 strikeouts in one game. Yes, I can get worried. Don't strike out 16 times. Swing the damn bat. I tell my kids there's 2 strikes. You better
Robert
go down
Perez,
swinging.
Catcher. Robert Perez. You gotta like
that makes no sense.
Oh, that was the thing when I saw the A's on opening day. They did the little light up thing on the chalk. I was like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, my brother and dad were talking like, we recognize 5 Oakland Athletics this season. I was like, oh, God. I couldn't imagine. And you guys are going to suck. I'm sorry. You guys are going to be there 500.
We're going to grind out some wins. Those big bases are going to help us. They are. The steal, the shift. I like the Ruiz. We'll get some diving stops. You just wait, Tyler. And then we can piss off Red Doe. Our fans can do it all. You see the video of Red Doe grabbing the fan over there. We could do that. What did you guys think of the shift? I thought that, or not the shift, the speed of the game. There was a game last night that went 2 hours and 2 hours and 3 minutes. I mean, I feel like that's going to help out just for like I don't know, like even the A's in that 9th inning when they were up, they're only up 1. Like it just kind of made it more dramatic because you knew it was coming right away instead of like minute or. They can still call timeout, but even then, there's still more rhythm to the game. I'm loving everything about it so far, Tyler.
Yeah, the time of play and the pace of play is great. Like, you used to be able to change the channel between pitches sometimes when some of these pitchers were pitching. That's how bad it was. They take a minute between pitches. We're getting pitches in. We're getting calls. We're getting the ball in play for the most part, except for game one when Logan Webb and Garrett Cole just struck everybody out. It's been aesthetically pleasing baseball. I've enjoyed it. I just don't understand why there's the day off. I know the rain, but outside of that, it's been good baseball.
Play with the New York over there. Filer play. Brian, Tyler's so right about that. Back in the day, I remember me watching the A's game and then like, oh, back over to baseball tonight. Now back over to you can miss a pitch or two. They'd be right there. But now the pace is a lot different.
I think Nomar Garcia-Parra would be in trouble.
No more. This rule would be made for him. I don't know what we were thinking that long ago with this stuff. I don't know. Like, that's the thing where baseball just takes forever to get these things in place. But glad it worked out in that regard, and we'd be able to do it.
Worst part was kids would imitate Nomar Garcia-Parra and like be like, "Oh, I got to do my gloves between every pitch," and like it just set a bad precedent, and they fixed it finally after 20 years.
My next bonanza thing here is the A's here specifically. It's the ballpark here again. I'm getting pissed off at people. This is just me in general getting pissed off at just everything with the A's stadium and how people are like, I feel like they're taking shots at this consistently here. It's not the fan base. They're not showing up for the game. The ownership is so bad. Can we not get that through our head? Like that is the reason people don't show up to the game. If you do not keep players for most of your franchise history, not just even in Oakland. You go all the way back to dark Philadelphia. They do not hold on to players. Like, until you do that, and then you get to a point where you put no energy into any stadium, Tyler, to me, I just start. And then, like, even guys out our VSN baseball, it's stuff like that. I'll be like, they don't understand. Like, they just don't get it. Like, it's not like the A's fans that don't show up. It's not that. It's the team, the owner is such a cheap person in the sense of wanting to do the right thing instead of just kind of looking for the kind of cheap way out. You know what I mean? So he doesn't look bad. That's the stuff that pisses me off about this team. They do just enough to survive and seem petty enough to where they get now they're getting this stuff from Vegas, just trying to get free money to try to really make this push with it. It's tough. Brian, I'm just frustrated with like people taking shots at the fans for not showing up for games. I don't think that there's any blame for not wanting to give your money to this team, to this owner anymore. I just don't. I can't blame you at all.
Yeah, I mean, I have all these shirts from past A's players, and it's like I regret even buying player shirts because they end up going to another team, and it's like they can't keep anybody ever. Like Tejada leaves, Chavez leaves, Mark Mulder leaves. You know.
What's some of these jerseys you have, by the way? Do we have a Barry Zito?
I made the mistake of buying a Barry Zito authentic A's jersey, and then he ends up going to the Giants the next year.
It's a beautiful thing, Brian. Beautiful thing.
Right, Tyler probably wishes that did happen.
Well, he pitched great against the Cardinals in the playoffs. He got us a World Series.
And then I have a Rich Harden shirt.
Well, that was Rich Harden's own doing. He just fell apart.
I don't know, Tyler. I'm just frustrated by it.
And Brian, when you buy an A's jersey, you got to get player to be named later on the back. No names that are active players. It's player to be named later. And then if the A's owners are so bad, don't raise your kids to be A's fans. It's a constant. Like, if it's going to be so bad year after year, you have that choice. You have that choice. You said it yourself. That you can't go to
my kids aren't A's fans anyway, so it doesn't matter, right?
But I'm saying all A's fans. Why raise them to be A's fans?
Because you want you still love the team. You still like the idea of it being in Oakland. You like the idea of that. All right, Romo, he gets the ovation there in the Giants. Sergio Romo ends up with 84 career saves with the Giants. Gets the most known for the World Series ring there, getting out. The lefty there for the Reds in that series there. He fouled off at 1,000.
Jay Bruce,
yeah, he felt that's kind of the most epic at bat he's kind of known for there with the Giants. I feel like. As a Giants fan, I'd say it's the Miguel Cabrera strikeout to win the World Series. Well, I understand, but I mean that's like the epic. You wouldn't get there without that at first getting past Jay Bruce. So with that said, what do you think about Romo? Where's he ranking your Giants closer list? If not anywhere in the top 5, who do you got there in the top 5 Giants closer list? Plus Romo thoughts. Pitch for the A's too at one point.
I have Romo in my top 4 at number 4. Number 1 would be Nen. Number 2 would be Beck. Number 3 would be Wilson. Number 4, Romo. Number 5, good old Tim Worrell. It got tough at number 5. There's a lot of options, but not a lot of great options. Romo, he was one of those love-hate guys. He could get shelled at times when his slider wasn't slided. The announcers always had excuses for why he was doing what he did. But when his slider was working, he was filthy. Like, he threw the fattest pitch ever to strike out Miguel Cabrera in the World Series. And it was just because he was looking slider and didn't swing because he couldn't get his bat off his shoulder. So, like, he was good. He was a fan favorite. He probably sold a lot of jerseys.
His slider was nasty.
Yeah, his slider was nasty. It was one of the nastiest pitches in baseball for a couple of years.
Especially against righties there. So where's he rank on your list?
And one thing, I had him at 4.
Okay.
And then the Giants just celebrate their history so well. Like, they're always bringing guys back. Everybody's always welcome back. They always come back. It's just a fun organization to root for. They're the opposite of the A's in a way. They have been a little cheaper sign. They look to sign
Brian,
guys.
Another cheap shot.
Oh God, here we go.
It's just another cheap shot that we're taking.
I didn't say anything. You did.
I feel like
2 minutes ago.
I feel like you guys are the Darth Vader of the Bay Area. Like, that's why I hate the Giants so much, because I wanted the A's to do what the Giants did in the playoffs, and that's what pissed me off, man.
What are the A's? The little monkey things that waddle around in Star Wars? Like, they're just the A's. They are who they are.
Screw you, buddy. Screw you. That's a frustrating comment. Brian, God, we need a championship, man. At least
you have 89.
1989, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have that forever.
We could go 89, and we swept your ass out of the playoffs.
There you go.
No, World Series.
Hey, let's go to something else here. What do you think of Lamar Jackson? He ends up that situation over there. He ends up getting a trade request there. I saw somebody on the Bay Area, Matt Steinmetz, popular guy out here. He says that why aren't the Niners going after somebody like this? I guess you could say that for a lot of teams, right? Is it collusion? Is it, I like John from Out of the Falcon Mind. Yesterday, he goes on their show, he goes, is if you go to the grocery store and you see a sandwich for $30, you're just not going to pay $30 for a sandwich. It's still a good sandwich. You're not going to pay $30 for a sandwich. I don't know. I thought that was kind of just a funny way of putting it. And I don't know. What do you think, Brian, of Lamar Jackson? Do you think he ends up playing for the Ravens next year? Will he actually sit out? Will he get an agent? What's going on with that situation?
I don't see how he could go back to the Ravens after all of this and just go play for that team. I don't know. It's just either he's going to play for somebody else, or I think he sits out.
But nobody wants to trade for him. Not at the price.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just I don't see how things would work out with Baltimore, because at this point he doesn't want to be there.
Where do you think he should go?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like a tough. I think the Ravens put him in a bad situation by doing that tag, because nobody wants to give up 2 first-round picks and sign him to a huge contract.
Well, the Ravens know what they're doing.
What do you think, Tyler?
I don't know where he is. I think he'll get traded maybe at the draft if he goes anywhere. But the thing is, I think he deserves his money, but I don't want my team paid for him. So, like, I get the whole thing. Like, I don't know what you do with him. I don't want him on the Niners. I don't want to give up 2 first-round picks and guarantee him $200 million. His numbers say he's great, but, like, I watch him play and he makes some terrible throws at times, and his athletic ability is just going to get worse and worse as he ages. So why am I paying for, like, a product that isn't going to stay as good as it is right now?
We talked about this a lot on Talk of the Gridiron, so I know how Jimmy feels. Not a fan of that one. When we talked about, if he's listening out there on the show, we talked about this a lot. We had a lot of good discussions actually about Jackson throughout the year on that show. But I don't know. I think I kind of want to know where you guys think he's going to end up, though, real quick. I think if the push comes to shove, what team is he playing for, or is he not playing next year? Like, you guys didn't really say a team. Like, where do you think he's actually going to play for?
I think he's sitting out the year.
You think he's sitting out the whole year?
Well, I don't know where. I have no guess where he goes. It's that baffling. Like, there seems like nobody. 2 first-round picks and $200 million. I don't see it. Unless something changes, like the Ravens take away the tag, I don't even know if they can do that. I don't know the ins
I
and
think he
outs
plays
of
for the
rule.
Ravens realistically. I just think if he gets traded, that's for the team that might do something like that. But I think like I could see Irsay like just getting panicked or something like that, and maybe making a move like that. I just think he ends up back on the Ravens. That's where I think he ends up.
I don't know. I agree with Tyler. I think he sits out the whole year. I just don't see how you could go back to Baltimore and make it work.
Hey, we got a question here from Vandy Chris, our guy. He did the VSN Collegiate with me. Has a good show there. Golden Broom. They talk a little SEC sports. They do baseball season there. So I was listening to their last show. They were getting into that. So Chris, appreciate you tuning in here. The Fatboy FadeAway Sports here on a Sunday morning. Let's answer this question for him. You guys are the Niner fans. What do you guys think of the possibility of the Titans sending Malik Willis and a draft pick for Trey Lance?
Tyler, I keep saying this to people on Facebook, but it's a $20 million cap hit if they trade Lance. They don't have $20 million, so it's not going to happen.
God, your owner's so cheap. What a cheap. I don't know. Like, what kind of pick would they have to get? What if you got 2 first-round picks? I guess that changes your mind.
No, I do that in a heartbeat.
Even
figure out the $20 million.
Figure out the money.
I mean,
John Lynch, you give it back.
I don't think there's any possibility this happens. And if they do trade Trey Lance, I don't want Malik Willis coming back as any value. You can keep him as well as his backup or something. Just give us as many picks that makes it worthwhile for the 49ers. I just don't
we still don't know how Purdy's arm's going to respond, so you can't really get rid of
Sam Darnold.
That is true. Brian,
God, the guy that sees ghosts. I don't want to hear any of that.
Greg Papa on the radio, who does the Niners play-by-play, he said he's the most talented guy.
Greg Papa's an idiot about
certain
things.
He's the most talented guy Mike Shanahan's ever coached. Or not Mike, Kyle Shanahan. Mike Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan.
I bet Greg Papa said Sam Darnold would be a superstar quarterback when he was.
I don't know if he said that, but I wasn't there.
I bet he did.
But he did say that there's a chance people are putting him off, but he said there's a good chance he might be the starter for the Niners come week 1 because he is the most talented guy that he has played out there. He said,
if that happened, what a disaster. Then I'll admit that Lance is a bust if Darnold starts over him.
Well, Papa said there's no question Lance is going to be on the roster. He said it's Purdy. Because Purdy maybe isn't ready to go or something like that. And so he thinks Darnold maybe people are thinking that that's what he said. He said Lance is going to be good to go. He's thinking he'll beat out Purdy in some regard for injury or something like that. So I don't know. That's what he's saying. He said they looked at the Panthers tape. This guy watches more tape than us. He said that. So he did the show there.
The Brian's point about him seeing ghosts. Kyle Shanahan better be Bill Murray and Ghostbusters and just eliminate all those ghosts for him because he doesn't see things. I don't he said I see ghosts on national television. He's not the most talented guy, Greg Butler. Get your head out of your ass.
That's a dumb comment by Greg Papa. Come on. I feel like sending you back to the Raiders.
Good luck getting him on the TMB show.
Bring him back to the Raiders. I don't even like him as an announcer.
I think that's why he wants the Jimmy G. I like him as an announcer. Touchdown.
Terrible.
All right, let's go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I don't have anything nice to say.
All right. Well, keep it to yourself, though. That's how we tell our kids. That's what I did the show last night with it. All right. NBA Hall of Fame class. Man, how good is that NBA Hall of Fame class this year? It's unreal. You got Dirk, Wade, Popovich, Parker, the assistant coach for the Spurs. What's her name? Becky Hammond's in there. I don't know. To me, the first thing that stands out to me is Wade wins his first title beating Dirk. Dirk wins his first title beating Wade. I don't know. That's the first thing that stands out to me is those two guys right there. Obviously, Dirk, the show, not named after him, but his fadeaway. That's one of my favorite shots of all time. And he had one of the best ones to do it. Nobody was blocking that shot when he got it off with his left foot fading back. Tyler, your thoughts on and you get Popovich, who's second all time in wins.
I think he's first now.
So I don't know. What do you think? Or first now, what do you think?
Add Pau Gasol to that list too. You get 2 Euros. You get the greatest coach arguably of all time. And then Wade and Dirk are 3 Euros, excuse me, Parker, Powell, and they're just a great class. I don't know how great the speeches will be. Not much. They're not very well known for being speakers. Popovich probably will be riveted because he says so little, and now he has to stand up there and actually give you something. So I'll be
his wife not
very
being
enticed to listen to that.
Are we going to get a smile out of Popovich?
Yeah, you'll
Will
get
we
a
get
smile. I think you're going to get
tears
some
is the
tears
real
out of
question.
Popovich in this one. I think the Wade will be fascinating. I think Dirk is fascinating with all that. I think that it's just a great class. NBA, obviously, the classes are always really good when you're talking the NBA Hall of Fame for the most part. But I mean, Tyler, this is as good as you're going to get one with 5 there. So yeah, Tony Parker into the mix is one of the more underrated point guards, in the history of the league. I'm sure we'll talk about him more as we get closer to it. It's going to be a Spurs heavy Hall of Fame class, I guess, right there. You have a lot there at San Antonio. Let's get Vandy. Chris has a question for us here again. So again, appreciate shooting in with it. Any thoughts on Max Fried and Verlander both getting injured on opening day? 2 frontline pitchers will now both be out for at least a week. Well, I'll tell you from Max Fried's standpoint, he was the damn keeper of my fantasy team, so I was pissed about that to start out the season. He got hurt last year at the beginning of the season. I think it was like a blister last year. Maybe it wasn't as serious. I forget what it was, but he always gets hurt the first couple of weeks. So whenever I keep him, I kind of expect it. This was a ham bone, and as you know, from a personal standpoint, nobody likes those ham bones pulled. We don't like those, especially when your father will not take you to the hospital. But anyways, so Max Fried probably gets a little better treatment. I do think it's a big injury for more like the Mets, just from the standpoint of from like a little early momentum, maybe just kind of getting there going a little bit with Verlander and Scherzer, just kind of starting it off. I think that kind of gives a little bummer to the beginning of the season. And he's getting older, so that one kind of concerns me a little bit more than I would say the Max Fried injury, because it's not an arm-related injury either. His is a hamstring injury. So I don't know. What do you think, Tyler, with that one?
I mean, they're big injuries. You can't losing frontline starters on these two teams who are looking to contend. I mean, it's kind of lucky for each one that their rival in the division suffered the same loss. I mean, Verlander and Max Fried are both top 15 pitchers in Major League Baseball. It's not good for baseball either, but they both have offenses that can carry a team for weeks at a time. So as long as they get back and healthy, I'm glad they're both not on my fantasy teams. Is the bottom line.
Yeah. I know we got a lot to still get into. Tyler, you got a short period of time with us. If you got to go, I understand, but we'll see if we can We'll see if we can go through a little rapid fire here with some of the last questions here. So we'll kind of treat it as such here with it. All right. Quick little thought here. Kings, they clinched the playoff spot for the first time in 16 years. Our guy at Sacktown, got to shout him out for a big one right there with it. Embiid doesn't play against Jokic. Nico went on a rant. I just encourage people to listen to Far Into the Bench podcast this week. At least that part of it. It was an epic rant. Nico only does it. If you know him, it was an ISO. Jimmy gave him it, and he ISO'd there on him, and he went to town on Embiid. So I encourage that. Tyler, that was a weird deal. Just a little bit not showing up. I don't know, not played. Just a little bit weird, just a quick little thought there. 10 seconds.
I mean, if you want to win the MVP, it was a weird, and he seems to want to win it as much as he says he doesn't care. You're only saying you don't care because you do care. You don't say something if you don't care. I don't know why he didn't play it. I mean, his shin was hurt or his calf.
And I wonder how many Kings fans, Brian, went to bed with Kings Blakeys the other day. They had to be happy. The Kings are in. They're in the dance. LaMarcus Aldridge retires. He calls it quits. Kind of one of our original guys. I feel like Tyler kind of grew it up a little bit, playing with video games all the time, drafting LaMarcus Aldridge, developing it. Kind of
mid-range jumper.
Two interesting things I find with his career, right? Brandon Roy gets hurt with him, with the Blazers a little bit there, that part. And then you have him with Dame. He doesn't stay. He goes to San Antonio. He's 30 at that point. Maybe he has a few last good years with him. They were good with San Antonio as well, but just kind of two interesting parts of his career I kind of thought with when thinking of those two thoughts with Aldridge retiring. Brian, we have WrestleMania up here. Did you watch it last night?
Yeah, I did. I think the most entertaining was the Usos finally losing their titles to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Did George Kittle, he was on though last night though?
Yeah, he ended up helping take out the Miz because the Miz was he was facing Pat McAfee at WrestleMania, And I guess the Miz was running his mouth to Kittle, so Kittle got up there and kind of took him out for Pat McAfee.
They cannot be happy about this. John has to be just nervous as hell every time he's out there with the suplex. Could you imagine if you got
He's like, don't get injured.
They should have him at Logan Paul wrestler. Brian, Tyler, I didn't even know it was on a Saturday and Sunday, the event.
I had no idea.
I just thought it was a Sunday.
Savage said they've been doing this for years. I was like, wow, I'm really not caught up on wrestling anymore. Brian, I want to get in. What'd you think of the Rhea Ripley, the Charlotte Flair fight? That's the one that got all the fanfare from what I saw. All women, a women ref as well. What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great match, and Rhea Ripley finally beat Charlotte Flair, so she's the new SmackDown Women's Champion. So,
isn't there like a big match tonight with fathers or something? What do they call it? The father? What is it? What, not the fathers? What do you call it? The people that hold the belt. You have some like weird. They call it some alliance or something like that. What's it called? Help me out, Brian. Do you call it all the time? The bloodline. Thank you. The father.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title. So hopefully Cody Rhodes
the best. Is that who it is? Is he better than Roman Reigns? Is that like is he do like more tricks or something in the air? Is that why he's like considered the best? Like I said, I'm out of it. Like I don't watch anymore. Like is that why he's like the fan favorite? Like,
I don't know. He just has a lot of momentum, and I think people are getting kind of sick of the bloodline. And I heard Roman might take a break after this, so they might go a different direction.
What's up, here? Got a guy. See Henry checking in here. What's up from out there in Detroit? We were talking a little football out there with Lamar Jackson a little earlier. Right there, we're talking a little wrestling here with it, going through it. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. What do you think? What were you thinking, Tyler? You look like you're gonna say something.
They're just dismantled. Like the Bloodline's losing every belt. They lost the tag team championship. Sequoia lost his first match ever on SmackDown or Monday Night Raw, one of the two. And then Roman Reigns is going to lose the belt. I know Cody Rhodes. Everyone's saying Cody Rhodes is going to get the strap. I just feel like Roman's going to pull one off. He just never loses.
He wasn't Undertaker on a 9-year run.
One more thing, Brian. What do you think of the Sami Zayn payoff? Like he did this whole thing for a year, and now he's this tag team championship. Was that a good enough payoff for what Sami Zayn brought to the company for a year?
Yeah, I mean that pretty much made it all worth it. That they're the tag team champions.
Basically, enough.
Tyler doesn't agree with that.
I think he should have been given the championship at some the Universal Championship. That's the guy who should have the belt, in my opinion.
All right, Tyler, did you see yesterday that the NBA, they saw one last thing and forget the winners? Did you see they're approved, I think, this midseason tournament, and they were talking about the players getting $500,000 for the winning team, or if they participate. Did you see that this midseason tournament might take place? I can't believe that we're talking about a midseason tournament. When we just talked about Kawhi Leonard earlier in the thing about how, or even just anybody about the resting that goes on, like it just gotta seem like it's gonna turn into like a G League event. Like I don't know what the like incentive is or how they make it like feel like yes, like this is you know what I mean? Like I just don't get it, man.
I don't see how like anyone participates. Do you get it if you participate the 500,000, or you have to win to get the 500,000? 500,000 is a lot of money if you like. Maybe not for some players, but like for the most of them,
probably not very much at all.
I mean, that's probably like 2 weeks of basketball for them. I don't know. Like, but yeah, but if you have to win to get the 500,000, nobody's playing in that.
I gotta look a little bit more to the CD. I know we talked about it earlier. I think it's something like where you matched up in the regular season or something like that, and like you play head to head during the regular season, and like you get points heading up to this tournament, and then if you get a certain amount of points, you get like entered into this thing. Like that's how it works. It's not like everybody's invited, I think. So it's like almost like you get points by your wins during the regular season. So like you start sitting out guys during the point. But that's the point of it there. That we got a couple of comments here with it too. Let's see here. We got the fellas chiming in here. Yeah, we're talking about Dawn Staley there with it. We talked a little bit about that earlier. We didn't really get into her part about talking about the team. I just think the media in general, like if you have to portray anything like that, where you're kind of making people think like they're more than just basketball players, to me, it's just race or not. It's just like that's not even part of your job. You're just supposed to talk basketball. Like, and coaches talking about people bullying stuff. Like, I don't know. To me, they're just a big team. Like, that's not like they're just aggressive on the boards. I don't think. Hopefully, from a coach's standpoint, that's kind of what they're more getting at than that stuff there. How do you qualify for the tournament? Is everyone involved? I think he's talking back to the NBA part here. That's the thing. I think it goes down to the regular season here and how it works. I think you're going to get certain points. Like if you beat this team, you get like 2 points for a Western Conference win or something like that. I don't get with it. They should do it like this. Like you get 4. All your players played, you get 5 points. You get points per player plays. You get they get like Curry's worth 5 points if he plays or something like that. I don't know, Tyler. To me, it's just a weird deal. I get the NBA trying new things like baseball, but I don't get it. To me, that's just kind of an odd one for me.
It's got to be like Euro soccer, like the FA Cup, where the top 4 teams get to play in the FA Cup or something like that, or like they'll do it for 8 teams in the NBA. I don't know how they'll deviate the points. I don't know. We'll see. It hasn't been done on U.S. soil, one of these in-season tournaments.
What do you think about Jim? What do you think about Jim Nantz retiring here? Who should take over for him? Should it be? I know. I thought it would be like. Some people were saying like these announcers, we're losing good announcers over there. We're started out that we're getting like some of the old generations leaving, right? A lot of those guys are out of it. He's out of it. What do you think about him? Him leaving? I'm thinking Gus. Yeah, perfect world. I bet Harlem takes over though.
Yeah, Harlem would be good. I think Harlem should take over now that you bring him up. Yeah, I don't know how you replace him. He does everything. He can do golf. He can do basketball, or not basketball. You can do football. Who takes over? I don't know. I'd go Harlem though, just based on what I've seen from him.
All right, guys, that's our Bonanza here. Our show for the thing here. We'll get for sure, Gus. I think everybody wants Gus, right? He's the guy. Like I think because I think that he just brings the energy, brings the enthusiasm. He gets you like. There's some guys out there like. If we're talking baseball, for John Smoltz, that man puts me to sleep. Now, that's somebody that puts me to sleep if I'm watching a game. I don't know how that guy got away doing a World Baseball Classic game. But yeah, for basketball, give me Gus all day. I like Harlem, but I'm good with some new blood too. Ryan Rucco, he gets every job, right? Ryan Rucco gets every job. He's on ESPN with it. Tyler, I didn't think we actually picked a winner. Do you think LSU or I actually win?
I'll go Iowa that's who I want to win. I don't really know enough about the players outside of Caitlin Clark, and there's one player on LSU that's really good that I can't think of her name off the top of my head right now, but she's number 10.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. What we're discussing a mid-season tournament. They should do it at the preseason World Baseball Classic, preseason Classic, just like that. Well, that's the show. We got winners and losers for the week. Tyler, you got a winner and loser this week? Anybody out there we missed?
My winners are the Thompson family. Trace Thompson yesterday hit 2 jacks, 7 RBIs, and then Clay Thompson broke his Angel Reese. Thank you, Vandy Chris. And then Clay Thompson. Beautiful, just beautiful. Then Clay Thompson broke his own, not the record, but his own record for most threes in the season.
Yeah,
and just bounced back from his ugly first 20 games. I have the Thompson family.
What was it? What was it? Brother hit 3 home runs last night, 8 RBIs for the Dodgers.
Did he get the 3? I only saw the first 2.
Yeah, Clay Thompson.
I sold him short.
And I told Hannah last night, my wife, I was like, yeah, did you know who his brother played for? And she goes, no, I forgot. I remember when I told that to the guys I went to the game with last year, the Giants game. It was so funny. It's still like one of the best baseball games I went to. These guys knew nothing. They're like Clay Thompson's brother plays for the Dodgers. I was like, yeah. Last night he gets 3 dingers, 8 RBIs, like once in a lifetime game. So unreal in that regard. What do you think there, Brian? You got a couple, or Tyler? Did you get to your loser as well, or just that was the winner?
All winners this week.
All winners. Brian, you got anything winner loser wise?
Like I said, I gotta go Sami Zayn as a winner because he finally cashed it in and he won the championship. And I'd say the loser are the Usos.
I think for my winner of the week, I already kind of said some earlier. I gotta go Pete Shark, our guy. That was a big winner of the week. I kind of shouted him earlier, but you're on TV like that, man. I gotta shout him. I guess that's really cool. Like you said, he puts in a lot of work with it. Appreciate your guys, Vandy, Chris, and C. Henry tuning in. Appreciate that. those comments just keep the show going, and we love the energy that it brings. So we'll even go a little long for anything for that, right, Tyler? That's kind of how it works here on the show. So we appreciate that for sure. Vandy, Chris, hopefully me and you will be doing a podcast Monday after a game, after the final game here on Monday night. All right, my other winner, I have Logan here. Guy at VSN helped us out with shorts. I want to appreciate him. Maybe not with us at the moment here, Tyler, but I just wanted to shout him out, just give us helping out with that stuff. Kind of got our brain thinking in that regard there. So a little shout out to him. Loser, Rendota, that fan, I mentioned him again. You can't slap the guy. I love Otani's face too when he walks by at that moment. Like the way he does that, like some way people zoomed in on it. But I do agree with Charles Barkley's kind of theory on this. You should be able to slap one fan a game. You should be able to.
Some fans deserve a slap. I'm not against the fan getting slapped. You run your mouth enough. A little smack across the face.
I don't know why, Chris, right back at you at that, my friend. But I just feel like that's always been one of those things where I'm like, yeah, but I know you could go to jail. These like somebody's like, it's a lawsuit. It's like, don't give me a break. It's not a lie. I mean, just hit his hat. Like, I get it, but like, my gosh, the part of me, like, why are we suing people over there? We got, it's a waste of money. What are we doing? What are we doing over here? This Red Doty has $250 million. Don't worry about it. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. That's our show for the week, everybody. We're on an hour here. Again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Brian, thanks. Tyler, till then.
Thank you.
Bye.